You are listening to me talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast where I share useful tools to create more space, more freedom, inner peace, connection, and life on purpose. We have all these dreams and ideas and things that we want to do, and we try to do them, but we just can't get ourselves motivated to do them. Why is it? Why is it that I can't learn how to handstand? Why is it that I'm still in a job that I do not like? Why is it that I'm not building my own business? Why is it that I'm not meeting anyone? Why is it that I'm not making more money? Why is it that I still live in the same apartment? Why is it that I still struggle with the same health issues? Why is it that my body is not changing? Why is it that I cannot follow this diet? Why is it that I cannot stick to this training plan? And it all comes down to the same answer. There are circumstances in the world. Those are the things that we cannot control. And everything that happens outside of us is a circumstance. We cannot control events happening in the world. We cannot control other people. It doesn't matter how hard we try. We cannot control our past because it's already gone. We cannot control anything that happens out there. Circumstances are neutral. We cannot control them. What we can control are our thoughts about those circumstances. Our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions, which create our results. Those are all the things we can control. All the things that happen within. All of those things are within our control. Sometimes we think that everything is either in our control or nothing is in our control. And that is not true. We can't control circumstances, we can't control what happens outside and around us, but we always can control our thoughts, our feelings, our results. And everything in our present experience is within our control. What we decide to think, the conscious thoughts, are completely within our control. Most of us do not know what we are thinking. We are responding to our thoughts that we aren't even aware of. Why does it matter? It matters because our thoughts are what create our feelings. And everything we do in our life is because we want to feel a certain way. Whatever we do or we do not do is because of the feeling we think we will get when we have it. Everything you want in your life is because of a feeling. The feeling that you think you will have in getting it, or the feeling you think you will avoid in not getting it. And if our feelings are caused by our thoughts and everything we do in our life is in order to feel better, it would be interesting and important to know what we are thinking. Unfortunately, we do not learn in school that feelings are the most important thing. And all of our feelings are caused by our thoughts. So it is very useful to learn how to think on purpose, so we can create the feelings that we want. Our thoughts create our feelings drive all of our actions. They are the fuel for our actions. So when we are wondering, why am I not taking action? It's because of the way we feel. Or why are we taking an action we do not want to be taking? It's because of the way we feel. Our feelings are driving our actions. And then our actions are always going to create the results we want in our life, or we do not want in our life. Our actions create our results. So what determines what we think? If my thinking is driving everything, if it's creating my feelings, if it's creating my actions, if it's creating my results, then it is useful to know what I'm thinking. And I also need to know how to change that thinking if I want a different result in my life. Observing our own thinking is a practice that takes practice. The process of watching our mind think requires us to separate ourselves from our mind. And just knowing and be aware that there is a separation is the first step. We need to become the observer. We need to separate ourselves from our mind in order to watch ourselves think. As human beings, we are the only species able to think about our thoughts and to watch our thoughts without reacting to them. It is a practice, but we have that skill and gift. In episode 12, you will find guided meditation to practice. Once we know that our thoughts create our feelings and our actions and results, we can see exactly why we are getting the results we are getting in life. We have around 60,000 thoughts in a day. Most of them are on autopilot. And if we do not direct our mind on purpose, it may be thinking thoughts that are not serving us without us realizing it. Most of us try to make change in our life from the action part, without understanding where does this action come from and what is driving this action. We try to change our actions without changing our thinking, without changing that feeling that drives the action. We try to change the training plan, the diet, the house, the country we live in. Wherever we go, we take our brain with us. So it is useful to know and understand what is happening there. When we change the thought and the feeling, changing the action becomes so much easier. And this is where the real sustainable change can happen. It's about finding the cause of our habits, the cause of our patterns, why we do what we do. So watch your brain and your thoughts whenever you're not taking the action that you want to take. The thought might be something like, "It doesn't matter anyway. It will not make any difference. Nobody cares. This will not work out. I have tried everything. This will not work. It does not work for me. It will be hard." Those thoughts might make you feel apathetic. That's why you are not taking any action. The result is inaction. It's just good to know and useful to understand without judgment, but with curiosity. We can't really change our thinking until we understand it. And change requires practice and skill. Every action in our life is because of a feeling. And every feeling in our life is because of a thought. So if you ask yourself why you are doing something that you are doing, why you're feeling the way you're feeling, the answer that you give yourself will always be a thought. And that is the best way to get to know what is going on inside your mind. Because what's going on inside your mind is what will determine how you feel, act, and the results you get. If you look in the show notes, you will find a visual that will help you to understand and make it more clear. So what if we think that we do take action and we still do not see the results we want in our life? Let's talk about taking massive action. There is a difference between massive action and passive action. Sometimes we are taking all this action and we are not getting anywhere because we haven't figured out the thinking and the feeling. Once we know what feeling we need to generate to take action and what thought would create that feeling, then it's time to commit to taking action, massive action. Massive action means taking action until you get the result you want. Massive action does not mean you're sacrificing everything, your time, your energy, your health, your values for the business or the goal. It does not mean you're creating massive things and hitting big goals every day. It means you keep taking action until you get the result. You take action, you fail, you keep taking action, you fail again, you keep taking action until you get the result. This is massive action. You're taking action until you get the results you want. There is always a reason, always an excuse to stop taking action. In fact, it is so much easier to quit than it is to keep going. Massive action is a commitment to keeping taking action until you get the result you want. If your goal is to get to work today, you might hit a red light on the way. And you know that it is part of the deal, part of getting to work. You do not quit and go back home after one red light. You know that red lights are part of the deal. You anticipate that you are probably going to have some red lights on the way, or that you might need to change the train. So you might need to find another way to get there. It is probably not enjoyable, and it is part of the journey. It is part of the process, and you keep going. You do not make it mean that it's too hard and you should quit and go home. And you should quit your job. And there is something wrong with you anyway. You do not use that red light as a reason to stop taking action. In fact, you're willing to take all the action you need to take in order to get there. That is what we want to do when it comes to our goals. When we set a goal and we commit to a certain result, we are going to hit obstacles. We are going to hit many, many red lights along the way. Most of us turn around after the first red light. It's not working, let's change the goal. Massive action for anything that we do in our life is the process of anticipating those obstacles on the way and being willing to fail and fail again and pause and redirect and do it wrong and try again and get a result we didn't expect and try again. That is massive action. Most of us take action once. We try meditation, being still, we try to handstand, we try to lift heavy weights, we try the diet. It doesn't work out the way we wanted it to. It doesn't give us an instant result, so we quit. Massive action creates a lot of clarity. What works, what doesn't work, what do I actually want, where do I want to go? Yes, no, maybe. Once we think about the future, we stop focusing on the red lights. We start focusing on the future. Maybe we need to do more research, talk to this person, brainstorm ideas, take a training. The more action we take, the more feedback we get. What is the right action? What is the next best step? Who do I need to talk to and connect with? What should I keep doing? What should I stop doing? Maybe the action I thought would lead me there is not the action that will. So I need to explore more possibilities. Exploring all the things that are not working so we can get closer to the things that are. This is a normal part of achieving any kind of goal. And if that result is important enough for you, you have to find your way to reconnect to that positive emotion again and again. That excitement, that commitment you feel to achieve that goal. And then take the action required as long as needed in order to get it done. Even if the action doesn't look anything like you thought it would. You might have to completely change it up, and that's okay. Do not be too attached to the how. You will know the how in the end once you reach that goal. It's about honoring your commitments to yourself and showing up for yourself again and again and again. Let's talk about the difference between massive action and passive action. Important to understand is that passive action does not get us the results we want. It doesn't get us closer to the results we want. Passive action is consuming and massive action is creating. Passive action is doing trainings, listening to podcasts, reading books, taking classes, talking about doing something. Massive action is actually doing things. Passive action feels like you're doing something, you're getting more information. Massive action is taking action with that information. We need both. Just knowing that you can't get the result you want without that massive action. You can't learn how to drive a car by reading a book about how to drive a car. You actually need to practice. I could read more books on the topic I'm talking about. I could research more. I could do more trainings. But until I actually sit down, write down, record, edit, and publish, there won't be another episode. When you're taking action, ask yourself, am I creating or am I consuming? Until you actually apply what you have learned and produce a result, it is not a massive action. And the result does not have to be the end result, but a result that gives you some kind of information and feedback to your action and how to move forward. Think about your goals. Are you taking massive action or are you taking passive action? We need that passive action, but are you scared? Are you avoiding to take that massive action to actually put yourself out there with the possibility to fail, to be disappointed, to be rejected? Do you think you're not good enough and you need another training before you actually start to take action? You don't. That massive action will show you where you need to adjust. Massive action will create momentum. Massive action will give you that feeling of moving forward, of growing, of evolving. A lot of us do not even realize that we are just taking passive action. We think that the reading and the studying and the thinking is the action. It is not. It's not that massive action that will give us results. Thinking about working out is not working out. Learning how to work out is not working out. Planning your workout is still not working out. That's the difference between passive and massive action. Think about a goal you have right now. Think about how much massive action you have taken towards achieving it. How do you know? If you have taken massive action, you have probably failed multiple times. If you have not failed, you are probably still hiding behind the passive action. Massive action is what pushes you up against your obstacles. Passive action does not require any failure, because all you're doing is thinking about what's possible. You're not creating what is possible. I love passive action. I love reading, I love taking classes, I love getting coached, I love listening to podcasts and books. We all do, if you're listening to my podcast. We just need to balance it out with that massive action. So take massive action and fail, especially in front of other people. Because that's how we get the results we want. It is much easier to consume information than it is to take action. Creating is very scary. We might not necessarily love the process of creating results, but we all love getting results, especially the results that we want. We might not like failing, especially not in front of people, but we all love achieving our goals. It helps us grow and evolve and create possibilities. And in the process of taking massive action, you will get to know yourself, your emotions, your insecurities, your limitations, and what is possible for you. If you are willing to fail as many times as it takes, then you're willing to take massive action. And we all have what it takes to fail as many times as needed. There is no emotion that we cannot experience. Whatever desire we have to quit is because we want to get out of that emotion that we are experiencing. That feeling of discouragement, that feeling of shame, that feeling of fear, of disappointment. Whatever it is that comes up for you, that's what you want to escape when you try and quit. The worst that can happen is an emotion, and there is no emotion that you can't handle. I talk about emotions in detail in episodes 13 and 14. Taking massive action is uncomfortable in the moment. Taking passive action is comfortable in the moment, but will be uncomfortable long term. We will feel discomfort either way, discomfort of growth or discomfort of stagnation and staying the same. Find a goal that means something to you. Be willing to commit to massive action for 21 days. Meditate for 5 minutes every day. Do a yoga class every day. Paint every day. Practice that handstand every day. You will fail. You will want to give up. And you try again. Please have a look at the show notes. Subscribe to my newsletter to receive latest updates, upcoming events, workshops, and retreats. Send me an email. Tell me what you're committed to doing over the next 21 days. Tell me what your favorite episode is and what topic you would like me to talk about. Talk to me. Let's take that massive action towards our goals and create massive results in our life. Thank you for being curious. If you enjoyed listening, rate, review, subscribe, share, and join the conversation. Do not miss out on yourself, your power, and what is possible for you.